Welcome to another exciting episode of Skill O Scope by Bambinos.Live. I'm your host, Kanishka Chawla, and today we are unlocking the magic of creative writing, a skill that not only enhances communication but also fuels imagination and self expression. We often hear parents saying, how can I make my child write better? Or why does my child struggle to put down her or his thoughts on a paper? Well, today we are here to answer all those questions and more. Joining us today are three amazing guests: Miss Aparna Sharma, Head of Curriculum at Bambinos.Live, and an amazing storyteller with her years of experience nurturing young writers. Mrs. Ruchi Kalani, a parent supporting her child's journey in creative writing. And the star of the show, Anushka, a budding writer who will share her experience and aspects of creative writing. So let's start with you, Aparna. Can you tell us more about your journey and how you have been inspiring students to embrace the art of creative writing?
For the lovely introduction, first of all, Kanishka. Well, for me, it's been a journey of more than a decade and a half that I've been sparking interest in creative writing for children. It all started with, me writing tiny little articles in the Times of India. And from there started this journey of me wanting to introduce kids into this magical world of writing. And over the years, I have developed so many different genres, hundreds and hundreds of topics, so much so that kids now, the ones who have studied the Young Creative Writers program, have now been equipped to handle any kind of topic that's tossed their way. Only because of the amount of different topics that they've handled and the way their brains have literally exploded with ideas.
That must have been one hell of a journey, I must say, Aparna. So many years into this field of creative writing. Amazing. Ruchi, as a parent, what's been your perspective on encouraging Anushka in her creative pursuit? And was writing always a natural interest for her?
I'll answer your second question first. Yeah, writing was her interest, but it actually started. She used to read stories and weave ideas. Then I just thought that she's enjoying so much when she is reading. So why can't she write her own stories? So this is how all it started.
That's wonderful. Anushka, welcome to the podcast. Tell us, what do you love most about writing? Is there a story or a piece you're particularly proud of?
I enjoy writing a lot and I consider it as a hobby. One of my favorite writing write-ups have been War and Migration, which I did with Aparna Miss, and I enjoyed writing it a lot and I'm very proud of it.
That's nice to hear, Anushka. I'm sure you must have enjoyed the entire process of crafting this wonderful piece with Miss Aparna, right?
Yes, I did.
Perfect. Welcome, everyone. I'm thrilled to have this conversation today. So, let's start with our first segment: why creative writing matters. So, Aparna, why is creative writing such an important skill for kids? And how does it benefit them beyond academics?
Creative writing is basically expressing your thoughts and ideas in a very eloquent way. And if you look at children today, it's very difficult for children to express themselves because they are being bombarded with so much of information online. So when you give them an avenue to constructively put forth their ideas, put forth their thoughts, and you guide them into, the direction of thinking in a constructive way, it helps them in a lot of different ways. One, it helps them think creatively, pushes the boundaries of their imagination, think imaginatively. It helps them with critical thinking skills and helps them think beyond just themselves. In today's world, the new millennials are all so engulfed in their own little bubble. But when you help them to think beyond themselves, that's when they develop so many different traits. And that is what creative writing helps them. And I would encourage every single child to take up this wonderful art.
That's absolutely correct. So now I would like to know from Ruchi, how have you seen, the creative writing or the young creative writing program impact Anushka? And have you noticed changes in how she expresses herself or tackles challenges?
Well, now that's an interesting one. Yeah, I have noticed a lot of changes in Anushka since the time she has joined this program under Aparna Mrs. guidance. Earlier, she used to express herself with the two, three words, and now she is able to express all her emotions, all her feelings, and this is amazing to look at her like that.
That's nice. I have seen so many students, whenever you ask them basic questions like, how was your day? There's only one word answer that they can give, good or nice. However, at the same time, I think most of us, we fail to understand what is the definition of good or what the other person is supposed to understand when you just give the answer like, the day was good, right? And I think this is where creative writing becomes the most essential skill in letting them express specifically or answer or be more particular about their expression. What do you say, Aparna, about this?
Absolutely. I completely agree with you, Kanishka. I think creative writing just unleashes their ability to be more eloquent, to express their feelings. And in today's world, where when people are dealing with a lot of uh, mental health problems, if you have a channel to express yourself, nothing like it. It's a gift.
That's well said, Aparna. Now let's ask Anushka. Anushka, do you think writing helps you express your thoughts better? And can you share a moment where writing made you feel really proud?
Yes, I enjoy writing a lot and it helps me express my thoughts. When I'm not able to share my feelings through words, I just try to write down how my day went or what I'm currently feeling in a diary or journal, and it helps me express my thoughts better.
That's perfect. So you're saying that writing helps you organize your thoughts in more structured way?
Yes.
Perfect. Now moving on to our second segment of this program, common challenges in writing. So my question is to you, Aparna. Many parents say their children struggle to start writing or stay focused. What tips would you offer to overcome these hurdles?
See, one of the biggest challenges that most parents face today is the onslaught of visual media, social media, basically, right? So that is where children are not able to sit in one place and focus because what they do is they're used to moving images. Whereas in a book, you're supposed to look at a book, sometimes those which don't even have pictures. So you're supposed to create the scene in your mind, imagine what the character would look like, and the scene around it, so that becomes a little tedious for children. So the first thing I would recommend to parents is to give limited screen time to them. Second is to encourage reading. When children read, there is an explosion of ideas. Their minds will be buzzing with different things. They are exposed to different styles, different authors, And whenever an author writes, he or she is basically showing his or her personality through the writing. And you're able to relate to the author, to what they are saying, what they are thinking in so many different ways through writing. So encourage your child to write, limit their screen time, make writing a very interesting, collaborated kind of activity wherein you also write, along with the child. So you can have different ideas, you can ideate together, you can brainstorm together. If you, let's say, visit a certain place together, let's say you go for a picnic at the beach, make sure that you come back and you discuss it with your child. You write your experience, let your child write their experience over there, and see how you all will together bloom and blossom in the world of creative writing.
That's indeed an important point that you have brought up. I think active participation from parents' side or becoming a team player in the journey of creative writing would be more interesting for kids, because I have seen as an educator, even in my classes, these days kids are quite um, they don't want to write. They're quite stubborn when it comes to writing. You ask them to speak, they're okay speaking, going on and on about a particular topic. However, the challenge in speaking is their thoughts are not organized again. They find it challenging to put the story in a proper flow. And I'm sure when parents are participating in writing activity, it will encourage children to be actively involved in the act of writing. So that brings me to Ruchi. Ruchi, I would like to know from you as a parent, how was Anushka's journey into writing? What did you do to help her? And were there any challenges initially?
Uh, Anushka is a very disciplined child, so it was not a big challenge for me, but I love doing activities with my kids. So basically, yes, we searched for the topics and then we actually used to write down our own thoughts, which obviously Anushka excelled at. And it's all because of the program that is running on Bambinos.
That's nice to know. So now let's ask Anushka, um, what was the hardest part about writing, Anushka, for you? And how did you handle it?
Usually, I enjoy writing a lot, but sometimes writing on serious or formal essays that don't really suit my interest was a bit tough for me. But I tried to understand the topic more and learn more about it, and I just find myself getting more and more interested in it. And then I try writing it and perhaps editing it later or making some changes later.
That's quite interesting, Anushka. So that takes us into the next segment of this program, which is encouraging creativity. So, Aparna, tell me as an expert, how can parents and educators inspire creativity in children who might feel writing is boring or difficult?
Anything fun for kids. Research has proven that they will be able to fall in love with that whole thing, no matter how boring it may seem otherwise. It's very critical that we add the fun elements to life when it comes to writing, creative writing. So create some, maybe storyboards. You could have some visual aids. You could have some props. You could use a lot of imagination when you're teaching children how to write, and maybe give them some stickers. Let them draw out what they want first, and then put that entire visual that they have created into words, and see how this entire thing will unfold and unravel. That if any educator does that, it will just take the kids to a completely different level in terms of writing.
That's absolutely correct. I think I would definitely agree with the drawing part of it, because I have experienced it before getting into any essay writing. When I often ask children to first, let's draw about it, let's draw what we feel about the topic. And because a lot of them, they like drawing. So I think once they have the drawing in place, then forming sentences and putting those sentences together and crafting an essay out of it becomes more fun for them. So, yeah, that's a wonderful tip, Aparna. Ruchi, were there any specific activities or methods that you have used to make writing fun for Anushka?
To be very honest, Anushka, I put Anushka for the program at the right age, so I really didn't have to do much about it. But yes, I make sure that she is reading a lot and she is enjoying it. And for methods, yes, she likes to draw and she has her own sketchbook wherein she is just doing her activities. And sometimes I sneak and read it. So this is what I'm doing it. I'm sorry, Anushka, for that, but I really do that.
So that's one secret revealed today, Anushka. Yes. So, Anushka, now you tell me, what's the most fun thing you have ever written? And how did you come to, or how did you come up with the idea?
I once wrote an essay about me opening my own salon, and I was the hairstylist there. It was a very funny and silly essay where I gave all my customers random and really funny hairstyles, and I really liked writing that book, and I was laughing the whole time while writing it because it was very fun.
Yes, it does sound like fun. Tell me, where did you get this idea from?
I did this with Aparna Miss as with her, and it I think this was the most fun essay ever, and I will never forget this one because it was really funny and hilarious. I really liked writing it, and every now and then I read it, and it's still as funny as ever.
I'm sure it must have been, Anushka. Yes. Now let's get into the next segment, the interesting one in today's program. That's turning writing into a habit. So, Aparna, tell me, do you think consistency is a key to mastering any skill? And how can kids develop a habit of writing without feeling overwhelmed?
Kanishka, this is a very important point that you've raised. Consistency is the foundation of anything that you do in life, right? And in writing, more so, or for that matter, in any form of studies and academics or mental development, consistency is the foundation. And if one wants to be a good writer, it's important that you make it a habit. So even if you start small, let's say you write about 5 to 10 lines every day, maybe it'll take you just about 10 minutes, but do it. They may be just random things. Like, Anushka said she prefers to write things in her diary rather than speak it out. Even a diary writing habit is something which I would encourage. Let children start their own journals. You can make your journal very interesting by using highlighters, using different sketch pens, using stickers. Do all of that. But get into that zone, get into that mode of writing. Make sure that your room is quiet, there's not too much of disturbance, no ruckus around. And when you start doing it, the first few days, you might find it to be a little bit of a chore. But once it becomes a habit, your day won't seem complete without it. And that's how you begin. Tiny steps, but it'll take you to a great future.
That's absolutely correct, Aparna. I think I remember when I was young, my teacher always gave us this common homework of writing 5 lines, neat and clean. That was more for improving or enhancing handwriting. But I also realized eventually it made us fall in love with writing and kind of encouraged us. And these days, yes, general writing is a thing that kids seem to enjoy a lot. So, Ruchi, how do you encourage Anushka to write regularly?
It's quite funny. See, we are a big family, Anushka's cousins and all. So what she does is she actually make card on every small or big event for everyone, and she just sends messages to her cousins, her grandparents, And this is, I just make sure that she is regularly in touch with all her family members. So this is the mode which I find is appropriate and wherein Anushka can pour out her heart.
What a beautiful way and a unique way of making sure the child is in touch with everyone in the family. Plus, the creative writing is also in place. That's a nice one, Ruchi. I'm sure a lot of parents would be inspired and they will take this idea from our today's session. So now, Anushka, you tell me about, how often do you write or do you write regularly?
I write almost every day. They're not mm, it's I don't write a lot in one day, but write small little essays or poems or stories every day. And it's not really a chore for me because I enjoy doing it and have fun while doing it.
Perfect. So now this takes us to a very interesting activity of today's session. So it's time for a quick fire round, a rapid fire round. I'll ask each one of you a fun question. So are you all ready?
Yes, we are.
Perfect. So first question to you, Aparna. What's your favorite writing prompt for kids?
Oh, it has to be The Secret Door. There is this particular topic was inspired by the movie Narnia, where this little girl Lucy opens a wardrobe and she lands up into a winter wonderland. And when I give this to kids, they are able to just unleash their imagination and take the reader to a different land altogether. And every kid writes differently, and it's so brilliant to read what their ideas come from, that particular prompt.
That's amazing. Now, Richi, what's your favorite story or poem written by Anushka?
Oh, yeah, I can remember one. When I turned 40, Anushka just slipped a small note in my hand, and it was the most amazing gift that I have got on my 40th birthday. I will always remember that. She has actually appreciated each and small effort of mine so nicely. I just didn't know that my child can do that till that time. So it was actually very great, and I just shared it with Miss Aparna also. I had the tears of joy in my eyes, so it was amazing.
Oh, that's so nice. That's the best gift a mother can have from her child. So, Anushka, if you could write a book about anything in the world, what would it be about?
I I would like to write a book like Harry Potter or Percy Jackson, which is full of magic, a a place or a school or a camp for magical beings and all that.
That's interesting. Okay, so now it's time to the takeaway tips. So, before we close, let's hear one key takeaway from each one of you. Aparna, what's one piece of advice for parents to encourage creative writing at home?
Hmm, one. I have two. Can I sneak in one more, please?
Yes, please, that's a bonus tip for us.
Okay. So the first one would be maybe, have this thing called pass it on stories. So Anushka, you perhaps remember the pass it on stories that we used to do earlier?
I do.
You do, right? So wherein let's say, you start off, you give a couple of sentences and let the child carry it on further with a couple of first sentences. So it's like passing the parcel, but you're tossing ideas around and you're taking the story forward with every passing sentence. And then you just don't know where it's going to take you, but I can guarantee you it's going to take you to a magical wonderland. That's one. The second thing is always encourage your child. Do not criticize, no matter what your child has written, no matter how small or how ridiculous it may seem for that at that moment. Don't criticize, encourage them to keep on expanding, exploring different ways to write, and they will 100% get better and better with each passing day. That's from me.
Thank you, Aparna. So, Ruchi, what would you say to parents who feel their child isn't interested in writing?
See, it has to be started at the right age, of course. So make your kids fall in love with books since their childhood, so that they love pictures. Their creativity will be like to the next level if they do that. So because kids start imagining themselves in some of these stories, and then they start thinking, and this is how their brain works, and they will want to write it down somewhere in some or the other way. Some kids draw, some write, but I think this is the best way, where at the right age, if you can start reading habits, because it ultimately leads to writing.
That's absolutely correct, Ruchi. So, Anushka, what would you tell other kids who think writing is boring or too hard?
I would tell the other kids who think writing is too boring or hard is that writing is not boring at all. They just have the wrong topics. Because if you start with boring or topics that don't suit their interest, they'll have that picture in mind for writing. So they should try with some fun or exciting topics that they enjoy.
Thank you so much, Aparna, Ruchi, and Anushka, for sharing your thoughts and experiences. This conversation has been an inspiration, and I hope it sparks a love for writing in all our viewers. For our viewers, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Skilloscope by Bambinos.Live. Let us know your thoughts in the comments and share your child's writing journey with us. Remember, creative writing isn't just a skill, it's a superpower that lets kids dream, imagine, and share her unique voice with the world. This is Kanishka signing off from Skilloscope by Bambinos.Live. Until next time, keep writing, keep creating, and most importantly, keep believing in your stories.